Hey everybody, welcome back. This is a follow-up video to the one I've just posted here about the direction of the channel. And I want to describe the death list. The death list is really just like I said in the other video. It is a compilation of video games that I wanted to go through, or maybe even books, things like that I want to go through while I'm still here, just my time on Earth. And that list is long. I've been running for years, and I've told everyone that knows me about the different titles that I wanted to play, things that I want to do, and I'm a sucker for stories. I'm a sucker for experiences, for seeing other works and art, and really just like the quality of a good book, but in this wonderful medium that is video games. And so I want to bring you guys along with that. So here's the way the death list is going to work. There's going to be some rules. Rule number 1, there can only be 3 games that I'm working on. 3 games at a time that's considered single player. Now, what do I mean by that? I'm going to want to play, Warzone with my nephews, or Fortnite. That's fun. Or I might want to play an MMO, something like that. These are titles that have no end and can be start and stopped at will, while still experiencing their world. So they won't count towards the death list. Now, I might have a separate entry for them to discuss, okay, this is a challenge I have about it, but I'm not going to let, say Final Fantasy XIV, one of my favorite games, I'm not going to let that interfere with the death list and always take a constant spot. So the death list is 3, just 3 at a time. Now, if I beat one, it goes down to just 2. And so then I can fill that with another slot. And I'll be doing various updates to discuss how many I'm running with. So rule number 2, you must beat it all the way through. There is no real exception. So if I'm playing something like Kingdoms of Amalur: Re-Reckoning, the re-release that just came out, I have to beat through the entire thing. That means all 100 hours of that experience. So that'll certainly be a long one on the death list. But you got to beat it all the way through. It's about the whole experience. It's not about stopping part of the way, or I got what I wanted out of it. It's about showing the good and the bad. So all the way through. That includes as much content as humanly possible. Now, there might be some DLCs that are no longer available. There might be things that I don't have the means to perform it. Maybe there's certain multiplayer challenges that just aren't available anymore, or frankly, I'm just not good enough, or they require me to sign up for something that's not really relevant to the challenge. There are games that are like that. So everything that is doable, so like side quest content like that, Xenoblade Chronicles is going to be a long title, I can tell you that much. But that's rule number 2. So rule number 2, depends on the country you're from. Rule number 2, you got to beat it all the way through. Rule number 3 is there is no end to the death list. Now, it sounds like I'm talking about the Death Note all of a sudden. I just realized that. Scratch the copyright there. The death list has no end. It will stop when I stop. Whether that be my channel needs to stop itself, or frankly, I'm no longer here. So the death list will go on forever. It's about achieving that maximum number. Now, we might have some milestone games. We might have stuff that's like, okay, well, for my 100th game, we're going to be doing Final Fantasy VII, for an example. Or for my 500th game, we'll be doing the last of the most recent Call of Duties. I don't know, something like that. But in general, there is no end. Rule number 4, all of these games must be recorded. Now, whether that's the entirety of the experience or the bulk of the experience, that may depend. Some videos may be like, for example, if I'm 100 hours in and all of a sudden I have lost, whether it be like a copyright strike, or whether it be the videos are too big and I've run out of space or whatever, and I've lost some or accidentally deleted it, or anything can happen. If I've lost some video content, if I'm 100 hours in, that doesn't disprove that I've been doing those times. It just means that that little bit that's been lost, I'll need to go ahead and just move on with. Now, I doubt that's going to happen very often, but the point is to prove that I'm going through all of these games and that every single one of them has been done. And so we'll check them off the box. We'll get it taken care of. But again, it has to be proven. Maybe we'll have some like screenshots I'll put on Instagram at the end that'll show a little bit of that, but otherwise, it's got to be completed. It's got to be done in video. Rule number 5. With the exception of certain titles that we'll talk about along the way, these games cannot be played on their easiest modes. It's not enough to just go through and experience it. Now, we might have some titles that are purely story-based. We might have some titles that are, that's all they are, is one difficulty and that's it. But when a difficulty option is available, we need to choose something that's at least normal to hard, if not the hardest option. Now, as I said, for Call of Duty, our very first game on the death list, I went through on veteran. The whole experience, nothing changed. You can see everything I did. Nothing was edited out or anything like that. That's it. So if any other rules or things come up, we'll talk about them as well. But like I said, first game we've got coming up here is Call of Duty. The next game that we're going to have, or at least the next few that are on the list, are going to be Devil May Cry 1 for the PS2. Fantastic title. We're going to go over all the different details. Number 2, Final Fantasy 1. Now, we're going to be playing through the PSP portable version. Well, that's kind of a misnomer or redundancy to say that again, but basically, the PSP port is the one we're going to be playing through. It's kind of the most aesthetically pleasing, in my opinion. I enjoy the content quite a bit. Now, game number 3 is still up in the air. I'm kind of undecided about that. I'm thinking Code Vein, but I'd kind of like to start by doing games that aren't too long right off the bat. That's what today's video is all about. This is going to be the death list. It's going to be fun. Other things that we're going to have beforehand, we're going to have introductions. We're going to have discussions about the game itself. We're going to have my history with each game before it's introduced, so that way you can find out exactly what it is that I care about, why this game's on my list, why it is I'm so determined to beat them all, everything like that. So it's not going to just be the game. The very first video is going to have little introductions as well. Some of them might be split into parts, some of them might be their entire thing. Either way, it's going to be great. Alright, well, thanks again for joining me here today, and I really hope you enjoy this idea. Don't forget to leave me a like and subscribe if you are enjoying my content, or if you just want to say hello and join the crowd. And we will catch you guys later. Take care. Bye for now.